Hello, everybody. If I were to ask you, what are the top three words that come to mind when you think of the word career success? Some of the most common words that come up are stability. Where is my next paycheck coming from? Another one is legacy, knowing that what will others remember me by? What will I leave behind? The third one is hierarchy. Will I leave here as the top boss? These values have governed how we build our careers, and they have done that for the longest time. But imagine standing in a room full of Gen Z and telling them that, hey, stability, legacy, and hierarchy are the top three approaches and the top three measures that will help you measure your career success. You'll probably be met with some polite nods, but mostly it's going to be blank stares. Because for Gen Z, they are inheriting a future where these values no longer exist. A future that is filled with volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and anxiety. What Gen Z has done for their graduation, if you imagine it, it was during a pandemic. They graduated mostly online. A lot of them even started their first jobs online. As a result, that's how they're building their thoughts about career success. So, when you ask Gen Z, what are the top three words that come to mind when you think about career success? They're completely different. And for the older generations, this will often feel like a rejection of their legacy, a rejection of their ideas. So, it's easy to just dismiss Gen Z and move over. Say, I don't want to deal with this. However, I believe that as older generations, it's our responsibility to actually interject ourselves in Gen Z's process of career development. Because it might seem sometimes that Gen Z, in their approach and their effort to build an equitable workforce, are like architects without a blueprint. So we can show them that, hey, we are willing to pull up a chair and reimagine and even redesign the workforce if needed. So, here are the top three things that Gen Z will tell you when they think about career success and how we can move the needle by interjecting ourselves in their career development. Number one, career success for Gen Z is about becoming. Now, as I was describing Gen Z, I could see a lot of nods, a lot of smiles. If there are some HR professionals here, they were thinking about their interactions with the Gen Z in their organization. They started work maybe 5 weeks ago, and they come to you, and in their week 3, they tell you, oh, I want remote work. Or they come up to you in their week 5 and they tell you, you know what, I'm extremely burnt out. Or you may have come across Gen Z who have just up and left. This is frustrating. But this is what the research is telling us, and it's a July 2025 statistic that 72% of Gen Z today experience peak burnout at the age of 25. For millennials, that was at the age of 40. And for Gen Xers, it was in their 60s. So this is not just a lack of integrity or a lack of work ethic. What we are noticing is a change in work values. What Gen Z is doing is they are not just navigating careers, they are navigating a survival. So when they show up for work, they're asking, can I do this job without breaking myself? And as older generations, the one thing, the very critical thing that we can do is help them join that missing link and help them understand that not every job is supposed to be fulfilling immediately. We can help them understand that it's through the seasons of repetition that they can earn resilience and build resilience. We can model what well being and ambition looks like together. Number two, Gen Z defines their career success by inserting and by asserting their digital identity. So what happens is they have earned their title of digital natives because their lives, everything is happening online. They're learning online. And then they show up to work, and it's a jarring disconnect between their online and physical worlds. Because in the physical world, there is low recognition, sometimes just no recognition at all. You will also have noticed, like if you go on a vacation with your Gen Z kids, they already know the best spots to take pictures at. They already know the best spots to eat at. They're basically your tour guides. So when they go into the physical workspace, this jarring disconnect between what they expect because of their digital identity and what manifests as their professional identity are two completely different things. However, we, the older generations, can move the needle by actually inserting ourselves as their online filters. Because not all content is good content. Because you may have experienced this, like you're trying to explain something to them and they'll tell you that, oh, well, I already know this. But the odds are that they do already know it. Rather than saying that, okay, fine, well, just do it on your own, we can actually help them to see, okay, let me figure this out with you. Let's see how we can both evolve in our knowledge about this topic. Number 3, career success for Gen Z is about alignment. More than any generation before, Gen Z, before accepting a job, is asking, will I be feeling well enough in this job today? They're not asking, does this job pay more? They're asking, can I be myself here in this job? Will they accept me for who I am? And as older generations, again, it does become our responsibility to identify and to accept their digital identity where they want to have the freedom to learn. They want to have the freedom for self-directed tasks. So why can't we just develop spaces that allow that? Now, when Gen Z just ups and leaves, instead of getting frustrated when we say that, oh, but they should have told me that they want to leave. It's not really as quick as it sounds. It's something called self-preservation in action. Because when they're not finding alignment, they may leave the job immediately, sometimes mid-project. There's just no telling. So perhaps, so perhaps the most important thing that we can learn today is, can we rise to the challenge of mentoring and guiding? We don't need to roll over. We have to rise with them. We don't need to move over. That's not what they're asking of us. What we need to do today is definitely rise to this incoming workforce, which is making up almost 25% of the workforce today. Because this is just Gen Z right now, there are other generations coming. Thank you so much.